Hey guys, Real Housewives of Potomac, episode 10. So Giselle's meeting up with her daughters, and she's just saying how one of the twins graduated with a 4.2 GPA and the other twin graduated with a 3.9. So basically, her girls are doing what needs to be done, and her kids are amazing, so she don't care what Mia was talking about. She also talked about how there's some complications going on with her dad's will. Apparently, there was a will signed a few days before he passed away or before he had his brain surgery, and basically, he was incapable of talking, writing, or reading, and Giselle knows that. And make sure y'all subscribe to my YouTube. Linked in my bio. TikTok will be gone January 19th, 2025. So she's saying that someone, they're not saying who, forged his signature and made it look like he signed a will that basically leaves Giselle and the grandchildren nothing. So she's trying to get that will thrown out and just have it be where he passed away with no will. And in the state he lives in, she said by default, her being his child, she would get 2/3 of the estate. And she also said that her dad did originally have a will, but it seems like it got thrown in the trash at some point by someone. So I don't know. It all kind of sounds like they're alluding to someone that he was dating or like probably a wife or something, but they're not saying who yet, if they're going to say at all. So I do kind of understand why Giselle's kind of been saying she's not really looking to get married again. She said this has kind of traumatized her and she doesn't really want to be legally attached to anyone because she doesn't want her girls to end up in the same situation that she's in now when she passes away. But they talked about how a trust supersedes a will and things like that. Like a trust is the strongest thing you could get. So she's planning to put money in a trust for her girls, which is what Jamal has done as well. So now we see Stacey and TJ with this cringy, awkward BS again. So here TJ go talking about the party was stressful for him that he went to with Stacey, Wendy's party, because he felt like he was the Uber date. As soon as they got in the party, she dropped him off and she was hanging out with her friends and not paying him any attention. Well, it's not a date. You're a plus one and you're awkward. And it's not like all the girls and their husbands were sitting there talking together. The girls were talking separately, having girl talk, having their drama and their scenes for the show hashed out. And you were over there in the corner talking to Ray, Karen's husband. So what's the problem? That's what you were supposed to be doing, hanging out with the guys. Then they showed the clips from the party. He told Stacey, left her with the girls and was like, I'm going to let you do your thing and I'll see you later, and started walking away and mingling with the guys, which was Ray at the time. But then like an hour later when he saw Stacey at the table, he was telling her like, get it together. You're not talking to me. You're not paying me no mind. Talking about I'm warning you. Like, who are you talking to? So Stacey kind of said in her confessional that she keeps the conversations about her divorce limited with TJ because he's never been married. So there's only so much he's going to understand. And she also just understands that her divorce is between her and her husband, especially because it involves their child and everything else. Like TJ has nothing to do with that. Mia should take notes. And then Stacey also told TJ how, the lady said maybe she shouldn't move on romantically and jump right into another serious relationship when she's been married for the last 15 years. And TJ was like, I understand what you're saying. And a lot of the things that the ladies are also telling Stacey have to do with them saying that she needs to get some D. And TJ was like, I just don't feel like you sleeping with people you don't care about is going to help you get through the loss or the grief that you're going through from your divorce. And Stacey was like, well, if I did want to see other people romantically, would you still want to continue this journey with me? And TJ was like, I would still care about you, but I just wouldn't close myself off to only talking to you at that point. And just from listening to the rest of their conversation, it sounds like Stacey is just missing the passion from TJ. And I'm not even just talking about them actually being physical or intimate. She was like, I just want to feel like it would make you mad or you would want to throw up if you heard that I was dating another guy. But she just feels like he's kind of like, whatever, like nonchalant, like it don't really matter which way it go. But he's basically saying he's the type of guy where it's like, if I really love and care about you, I want you to be happy at the end of the day. So if you like somebody else more than me and that's who you're happy with, then I'm going to be happy. Like he wants Stacey to end up choosing him, but if she wants to date other guys and see what's out there, he's fine with that. And if she finds somebody else that she likes more, then he'll be happy for her too, which is mature. But it does also come off like you don't really care to some people. Like Stacey literally said, so you want me to choose you? And he was like, I would like you to, but you don't have to. Like it just gives like, well, I like you and it would be cool, but if you don't want to, then whatever. Like I'm not tripping. She wants him to trip. Okay, so Wendy and her sister Ivy are going out to eat and they're meeting up with their mom. And Wendy is planning to finally tell her mom about the fact that she resigned from being a professor at the university she's been working at for years. And she brought her sister along for moral support because they both know how her mom is. So her mom came, they sat down and they were ordering with the waitress. So then when the waitress started walking away, Wendy's mom started praying. But Wendy thought of something else to order. So she called the waitress back and was like, can you also bring us some sweet plantains? And her mom was like, that's so rude. You're talking while I'm praying. And Wendy was like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm trying to order us more food. So Wendy does tell her mom that she recently resigned. At first, she was a little shocked and taken aback. She had to have her dramatic moment. But Wendy explained to her, I really want to spend more time with my kids. I want to work on my talk show and other passion projects that I have. Me resigning from my position as a professor at that university doesn't mean that I can't go back and get a part-time position at any time. And it doesn't take away from the fact that I'm a doctor and that I have 4 degrees. Like, I've still done all of that work and I'm still successful regardless. And she also said she kind of felt like she was being tolerated and not appreciated at that specific university that she's been working at. But like I said, her mom actually had a surprisingly good reaction. And she was like, I don't want you to be stuck in one place. If you're not satisfied, move on, because you've done the work, that you have the options that you can move on and do other things. So if that's what you want to do, I support you. Okay, so we see Giselle and Ashley meeting up, and it looks like they're going to some type of like speed dating event. And they're basically trying to figure out a signal that they'll be able to give each other to let each other know, like, hey, I like that guy, so don't even try it, because they don't want to end up liking the same guy. So these guys apparently knew that they were seeing Ashley and Giselle. One of the guys came up to Ashley with a big bouquet of flowers, big bouquet of flowers. I don't know, whichever one. And he was like, I know it was your birthday recently. So I'm like, oh, this is a setup. This is not genuine blind speed dating. So in her confessional, Giselle was like, I'm just looking for a chill guy, somebody I can go to the museum with, go for walks in the park with. And the producers was like, oh, so you want a TJ? Because, he said him and Stacy go to the zoo and stuff. Giselle said, that's a no. Then there was some guy named Aaron. He had a bunch of tattoos. So Giselle was like, I like your tattoos. He gonna say, yeah, you could get one that says Aaron right on your neck. And Giselle was like, what in the world? Like, she literally had just told him she ain't have no tattoos. And he responded by saying, yeah, you could get my name tattooed on your neck. The fuck? Do she look like a bitch that's getting a fucking neck tattoo? Now, there was a guy named Nams, and it seemed like him and Giselle had a little bit of chemistry, actually. Ashley was just flirting with everybody, talking about, even if I don't got chemistry with these guys, I just love flirting. It's really a hobby of mine, my favorite pastime. Like, Ashley, bye. But there was this one guy named Josh who grew up on a farm. He was really close with his mom. He grew up playing sports, and him and Ashley had a lot in common, and she seemed to really like him. And Giselle was kind of ear hustling, listening to their conversation, and she was like, I like him for Ashley too. So now we see Karen and Ray at the house, and they're about to sit down and have a little chat. So Karen told Ray that leading up to the accident or the DUI, she was an emotional wreck, and she was really angry at Ray. Their relationship had been going through some turmoil, and she wasn't really sure if they were going to make it. She said she felt a lack of support from Ray prior to the accident, but today she feels like he's listening. And they kind of just showed the old clips from therapy when they asked, was he in love with Karen? And he said, I think I am. And she was just like, she's really thankful for Ray holding her down in this situation the same way she held him down a few years ago when he went through the whole tax situation. And that's what really makes a great marriage. And he's also been driving Karen everywhere because she can't drive right now. But they've been married for 28 years. So they were just like, we got to make sure we keep our relationship strong. It's the little things that count. And we just got to remember to remind each other that we love each other, basically. So now we see Mia and Kiarna meeting up, or Kierna. I just be calling her Kay. And Mia's on the phone with Gordon, and it seems like he's in a better place. And he's like, it's only going to get better from here. I'm not trying to go backwards. So Mia seemed like she was interested in talking to Kay because Kay and her boyfriend are both in the field like of social work and mental health. And she said she just feels like Kay has a different level of compassion and understanding than some of the other ladies. And right now, Gordon is going through a really bad episode, so she's just trying to help him through that. And Kay basically told Mia the same thing that Jacqueline told her. You're sending him mixed signals, and him having to be around Ink probably triggers him. And he probably thinks that there's still a chance for you and him to get together again. And Mia basically confirms it by saying that Gordon texted her the other day saying, I feel like me and you should get back together and just not be intimate. Would Ink be okay with that? Basically saying him and Mia could stay married, not be intimate, and she could just cheat basically and still be intimate with Ink. But Kay told her no, like that's not a good idea. So then Kay asked Mia about Ink, like, is he your child's father? Because I'm a little confused by all of that. And Mia's going to say, we're going to get a test, but I don't think Jeremiah is Ink's birth father. Like, she clearly meant to say, I don't think Ink is Jeremiah's birth father, but she just sounded so dumb. And Kay didn't even clock it, so I'm clocking it. But she said that she is going to give Ink the paternity test just so that he could have peace of mind, even though Gordon is not in support of it, because Ink has been stepping up and being a fatherly figure to these kids. And she also feels like Jeremiah is a lot like Ink, like, I guess, as far as personality and mannerisms. So Kay was like, I also know that you was trying to make all three of y'all and the kids be a unit, but it's just not appropriate and it's just not going to work, especially with the case that you're dealing with Gordon being bipolar. So Mia says she understands, and Kay was like, I'm going to have Greg, which is her boyfriend, send you over some tools such as like a mania status checklist so that she could have some techniques if Gordon is going through a crisis again. And Kay was like, let me know if they help, let me know if they're working, and we'll talk later, basically. So we see Ashley meeting up again with the guy Josh from speed dating for their official first date. So their date went well. They got to know each other better. Josh told Ashley that he got diagnosed with thyroid cancer last year and he was only 28. So he had surgery in 2023 and then he went into remission. So Josh is only 30 and Ashley said that is a bit young for her, but being that he survived cancer at such a young age, she feels like, that sheds a lot more light on his personality. She feels like he's more mature than his age, and him having cancer probably affected his outlook on life. Like he probably actually cherishes life and relationships a little more than the average guy his age would. So Ashley clearly liked him because they were playing like beer pong and she was like, whoever wins this round gets a kiss, which means obviously regardless they were going to kiss. So now we see Mia and her kids, her son throwing slime on the ceiling. She told him to get it down. He talking about oh, can't we just get it cleaned? Boy, don't get popped. So Mia's son just kept asking her about why her and Gordon don't live together anymore, why they're getting a divorce. And he was like just confused, like, I don't think you fully explained to me, or maybe he didn't think it was that serious and that they were really going forward with actually getting a divorce. And Mia basically told him, me and your dad just don't really get along all the time. So then Gordon came in and basically the kids decided that they wanted to make cookies with Mia. So she was like, we felt like it would be cool if you came down to help because he lives in the same building. So for little stuff like that, it is kind of cool that they live in the same building. But with their situation and with it being so soon, it's just a no. So Mia basically told him, before you came, me and the kids were actually having a conversation, like kind of about our relationship. So I'm glad that you're here because maybe you could help me navigate it. So Gordon was like, really? Okay. So the conversation was starting off very awkward. Jeremiah was just saying that he wants them to be together and he's sad about it. And Mia was like, well, we're technically still together. Your dad just lives upstairs. And Gordon was like, well, it's okay for him to be sad. I would be upset if he wasn't sad. But you wanted this and I've just accepted that there's going to have to be life after Mia. So then they just start talking to the kids about like what the concept of marriage is. You find someone you love, you have kids with them, so on and so forth. So the daughter asked very innocently, well, Daddy, where did you meet Mommy? Mia looked like, oh shit, my tea about to get clocked, and she kind of turned away because they met in the strip club. So Gordon just was saying Charlotte, Southeast Charlotte, and the daughter kept asking like, yeah, but what place? Like, I'm not talking about what city, I'm talking about what kind of place. So of course he just shortened it eventually and was like, we met at a club. Then Jeremiah starts singing Mommy and Daddy sitting in the tree, Kissing. First comes love, then comes marriage. And then the daughter is like hugging on Gordon and whispering to him, what if Mr. Ink actually marries Mommy? So as much as the kids are like cool with Ink, they're not really vibing with the idea of Mia actually marrying him. And the fact that Ink thinks Jeremiah is his kid is even crazier after seeing this. So Mia was like, sometimes in marriages, people grow apart. Like a lot of years together, people change. And the daughter said no. And you can't marry Mr. Ink. Mia looking at Gordon trying to laugh it off. Shit ain't looking funny right now, Mia. Then the daughter said, you get what you get and you don't get upset. Now, obviously, that's coming from a little girl standpoint because when she get older, she won't feel that way. But she basically saying once you get married to somebody, ain't no divorce. Like, you get what you get and don't get upset. You supposed to ride with my dad. So at that point, Mia was just like, okay, like she was done with the conversation. She took the cookies out the oven and she told them, we're going to let the cookies cool down and then we're going to decorate them. Until then, go in the living room and do some arts and crafts. So now it's just her and Gordon in the kitchen. And Gordon was like, I definitely feel like we need to have another conversation with them. That one was like a little disjointed. Those were his exact words. And Mia was like, well, I've worked so hard to protect them and their innocence is kind of beautiful. And he was like, yeah, but we don't want them to get to the age that they're adults and they're getting married and they view marriage like a certain way at that point in life because of us and because of us not really explaining what happened here. And Gordon was like, well, I just don't want them to repeat our same mistakes, like basically having to go through multiple marriages. I don't want that life for them. But Mia was like, yeah, but on the other hand, I also want them to know their worth and know their value and know when it's time to leave a relationship. And they showed like the old clips where Mia was saying how Gordon took her phone and locked it in a room. And Gordon couldn't really say nothing because he knew that she was basically throwing shade at him. Like, that's why I had to get away from you. You was doing too much. You didn't know my value. You didn't know my worth. But obviously he was going through a mental illness. They also showed the clip of Mia talking about how she would wake up sometimes and her bank account would be at zero because Gordon would transfer all the money. So then Mia started telling Gordon about the conversation she had with Kay and how Kay's boyfriend is in the mental health industry and how Kay told her that they need to build some boundaries and that she feels like him living in the same building as her is crazy. And Gordon was like, it's unconventional, but if it works for us, it works for us. And Mia was like, it works for me for the most part, but Ink also feels like I need to set up some boundaries with you and that I'm not really emotionally available for him because of everything me and you got going on. And she basically said, I don't have anything else right now in me to give. And in her confessional, she was like, I just have to get this divorce, stop worrying about Gordon. I've given him 15 years of my life and I'm ready to move on and heal. So Gordon was just pretty quiet. So Mia invited the kids back to the kitchen so they could decorate the cookies. And she was just dancing with the kids and excited while Gordon didn't look as excited. So the episode ends there. And next week on episode 11, Karen is having some Love Lagoon party and everybody will be there. That's when Ray was talking about how Karen was dominant in bed and she used to be tearing him up. And then Jacqueline tries to come to Karen's house with her dog and Karen is going to put her out. So I'll see y'all next week for episode 11 of Real Housewives of Potomac. Bye. And make sure you subscribe to my YouTube, linked in my bio. TikTok will be going January 19th, 2025. And I still want you guys to be able to interact with my reviews. All right? Bye.